So, what do you think is the number one way to get rich in this life? Let me tell you, it's all about reading good books. Today, I'm going to be sharing 7 of my most favorite financial books that I believe have really made a difference in my financial welfare. Stay tuned. Oh, hey guys, how you doing? Frank Thomas here. This is Wealth Generation Strategies, and today I'm going to be talking about a topic I've wanted to talk about for a long time, and I just keep forgetting to talk about it. And that is, what are my favorite financial books? I truly believe without a shadow of doubt that you have to read good literature on a topic you're interested in. There's an old saying, read 3 books on any one topic and you become an expert in it. I have to believe it because I've read a lot of financial books and I've become a lot wiser over the years because of those financial books. Today, like I said, I want to share my top 7 financial books that I've come across over my life, which I just absolutely love. Some of them by accident, some of them by this is what I wanted to get, and it looked pretty good. And I'll be honest with you, this is not a complete list because I've not read every financial book on the planet, but I've read a lot. But like I said, these are my 7. If I had to choose 7, these are the ones I'd recommend you run out and grab a copy of. And the cool thing is, a lot of them were published a few years ago, which means you can get them at used bookstores or a lot of these Sally Ann's or whatever it is, and get them very inexpensively. So you have no excuse. So get hunting for these books. But let me start with my most favorite book of all. And I've talked about it on this channel. It's from George Clason. He wrote the book in 1926. Does financial advice change? Absolutely not. Sound financial advice is the same forever. And he talks about it in The Richest Man in Babylon. And I love this book, and I have to say all the books on this list have a nice read to them. Very personable. You kind of feel like it's a story and you get into it and you sometimes are just rooting for the hero. And that's why I like a lot of these books. But George Clason's book, The Richest Man in Babylon, is laid out way back in Babylonian times when somebody who wanted to figure out, how do I get rich? It's a question I think everybody asks at one time or another in their lives. And he sought out the answer, and the book is his journey on seeking out the answer. Everything in that book is awesome. Definitely a recommended must-get read. Now let's look at the second book. And that is one that David Chilton wrote in 2002 called The Wealthy Barber, but it's the first edition. I'll be honest with you, I didn't really love his second book, but his first book, loved it. He talks, again, a very conversational book. He talks about going from being an average Joe to becoming rich over time. And the interesting thing about it is there's nothing really difficult in it. My only holdback to this book now is the financial advice is a little old. And remember I said financial advice doesn't change? In some cases it does. The principles stay the same, but what you invest into over time does change. I believe in David Chilton's book. It's been a little while since I read it. He was advising getting mutual funds. And mutual funds really are not in flavor anymore because of the high fees associated. Exchange-traded funds or ETFs are much, much better now, but offer the same sort of investment strategy as well as ability to make money. And your rates of return are fantastic. But definitely a good read, good to pick up, easy to read book. Grab that one. Book number 3 is a newer book by Ryan Daniel Morin. It's called 12 Months to $1 Million. And this is not real. It is a financial book, but it's not a financial book. It might be a bit of a red herring in this list, but I decided to include it. I love the book because he speaks a lot of truth. If you're looking to build a side gig to increase your financial well-being, you got to read this guy's book. He makes the lofty claim 12 months to 1 million. But, if you follow his advice to a letter, I believe you can do it. I have taken longer to make, not maybe a full million, but very close to it in the past. And I was able to do it following a lot of the things that he's discovered, I've discovered as well, just through my own dealings in business. Now, this is more of a business book than it is a personal financial book, but I think it's a worthwhile book to read to kind of get your mindset moving in the direction of becoming an entrepreneur. So definitely worth picking up. Number 4, Timothy Ferriss and the 4-Hour Workweek. He published this book in 2007, and boy, this book rocked my world. And I'm talking beyond finances. He completely changed the way I think about business as a whole. One statement he brings out in the book is, you can compress everything that you need to do in a week in your job in 4 hours. Now you'd say that's impossible. You know something? I've tested his theories, and he is absolutely correct. We waste so much time at the workplace. His story is, you had a heart attack, and you got to sort yourself out, and you only got 4 hours to sort yourself out, or else you're going to die. How are you going to do? What are you going to get done? What is the most important thing? And it's a funny thing, once you get into a position like that, you discover that 95% of what you do is minutia. It's not needed, and you can be much more efficient. We just find ways to fill 40 hours a week. Definitely, this is a book I recommend reading, or even better, of it, like the audio copy from Audible, and you'll really enjoy this book. He's a very humorous writer, as well as he does tell a good story, and the stuff that he brings out in this book will rock your world if you've never heard it before. Worthwhile picking up. Okay, here's a guy that's been in controversy recently, Robert Kiyosaki. He wrote in 1997 the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It kind of was the beginning of his empire. I'll be honest with you, I love the book. I think that some of the things he totes are kind of weirdo. They've always been to me. I've never been much of a property person. He's much more a property person. But a lot of people don't really get him. You read his book Rich Dad, Poor Dad and really read it and really kind of get to understand what's going on. And even better, if you can get your hands on an old copy of his game, Cash Flow. I learned a lot from that game. It taught me that a plumber can become a millionaire, whereas a doctor could be slogging in the trenches his whole life and never save a dime. Between his book and his game, it does teach that. Yeah, when the game came out, it was stupid expensive. But I think what I paid for it, I've gotten that back in financial education tenfold. So I definitely recommend it. Again, it's something, because it's been around long enough, it's not that expensive if you go to the used bookstores and grab a copy. I find that they're available all over the place. So I'd recommend picking one up and reading it if you haven't. Now, here's one that is a little bit of another outlier, and that is Edward Lefebvre. And pardon me if I didn't pronounce his name right. He wrote it in 1923. It was made on the stock trader life, Jesse Livermore. The name of the book was Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. I actually got a copy of this book for free. I had a subscription with a monthly service that you can get books on the stock market and stuff like that, and it was a freebie they gave me. So came in the mail, and I went, picked it up and started reading it. It was actually a great little book. And the reason why I loved it so much, it was talking about somebody who kind of didn't know anything about the stock market and became a billionaire many times over through the stock market. And he illustrates through this story how he did it. And apparently it's based upon this, like I said earlier, this Jesse Livermore's life. Really, if you can pick up a used copy of this somewhere in a used bookstore, again, it's very worthwhile reading. It's very story-like as well. And I found that I think the biggest takeaway I got from this is you can make more money when the market's going down than when it's going up. Now, you might say, how am I going to make money if I'm losing money on stocks? Read the book, and you'll get it. This is how this guy made his billions of dollars. He basically made all his money in a stock market crash. And he had done it several times, and he became very smart, and he learned how to choose good stocks. And grab yourself a copy of the book. I'll leave it at that. Before I get to the final one, if you're enjoying this video and you're getting value from it, give it a like. It really helps me out. And if you find that you enjoy this video and want to watch more of my videos, make sure you subscribe. That way you'll always know when I put a new video. I try to put one out at least once a week. and I try to give you guys new information every week. Sometimes I'm off the beaten path, sometimes I'm following trends. I do speak my mind in my videos, and I'll give you the truth as I see it. So be sure to subscribe. Now let's get to number 7. Now, he's a fellow Canadian who I think, I don't know the history properly. Derek Foster got himself into a little bit of trouble, but he wrote a book in 2005 called Stop Working, Here's How You Can. And it was all about investing into dividend-based stocks. This is what got me started on investing into the stock market. I actually got the book here. You're going to see a picture of the book on the screen like all the others. But I've actually got the book here with me today because it talks about how you can set yourself up and start buying stocks. This was in the days before we had Questrade and Wealthsimple and all these online services. It's so stupid easy now that you actually have no excuse. When he wrote this book, you had to buy a stock and get the paper certificate, and you had to trade it, and you had to do all this finagling. You know something? I should have just done it. It became a hurdle for me, and it was a stupid hurdle, and I'm kicking myself to this day. Honestly, if I'd have followed this guy's advice way back when he put this book out in 2005, like 20 years ago, I'd be done. And I'm serious, I would be done. Because I follow the advice he has in that book today. And I buy stocks, I buy ETFs. ETFs weren't a big thing, so it's not in that book. But I use the same philosophies that he administers in this book to buy what I buy on the stock market. And it's very worthwhile. So those are my 7. These are all recommended books. You can pick up, like I said, most of them free and use bookstores, or not free, but for very low cost. Sometimes you can get them for free. The only one that's fairly new is the 12 Months to $1 Million, another great book. Be sure to pick these books up and get reading because they will help you become a millionaire. But have you ever wondered how you can change your financial life? Yes, we've been talking about that in this video. But do you wonder what are things you can do that are beyond reading? Well, there's a video showing on the screen right now called How You Can Change Your Financial Life. And it points out, again, 7 wonderful points about how you can do just that. And it's more life things that you can do that are going to really make a difference, that kind of differentiate the poor from the rich. So I'd recommend you go watching that. Otherwise, I thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and get reading. It's time to get rich, man. See you again. Bye-bye.